Hello again, everybody, and welcome back to Sun Valley Lanes in Lincoln, Nebraska for the 2006 Boys State High School Bowling Championships. This, the battle for the Class B state title, and a couple of teams who are very talented in Lexington and Plattsmouth. And our broadcast partner, Steve Simpek, I'm Larry Putney. We're expecting to see a dandy here today, Steve.
This is, you want to see some boys some boys that do a great job of tearing the finger holes out of the ball, maximum revolutions, sending pins flying all over the place. These two teams can do it. The Plattsmouth boys, defending state champions.
That's Dusty Quaid.
Wow.
Ring and 10 to start things off for the sophomore from Plattsmouth.
Good shot. Ringing 10. Tough break there. Pick the spare up.
Nate Sheldon on the left lane for Lexington. Dove on him a bit.
Well, if you're going to get those, get them out of the way early.
And misses the spare. Dusty Quaid on the right lane. And again, we'll mention it because it's worth mentioning. Nerves can play a factor here in this type of setting.
Well, these boys start practicing long before November, getting ready for this high school season. And here we are in the middle of February, crowning a state champion. You know, the nerves are going to be there. It's going to come down to who makes the fewest amount of mistakes.
C.J. Caskert pulled it a bit. That's a tough 3-9 left there.
Well, Lexington's going to have to keep it in their mind that, you know, Plattsmouth has been the team to beat the last few years, but they can hang with them. There's a good shot there.
And a great shot by Zach Stauffer. Stauffer also just a sophomore. Back-to-back opens for Plattsmouth, and this is nerves.
Right now they got the yips, and you can't win with strikes alone. You've got to stay clean. You've got to pick up your spares. Make good decisions. This is Josh Crum. Got up on the approach, took a big old huge breath, and right now it looks like typically on a condition when you're a little timid, Larry, or you're worried about sending the ball too far right and, you know, having bad luck, you're going to pull the ball a lot. And that's what we've seen. The first three Plattsmouth bowlers have all pulled the ball badly to the left, and got to get a spare on the board here. So hopefully Josh can run this 6-pin down.
And the first spare conversion for Plattsmouth comes from the senior Josh Crum. Now in the left lane, Jake Hoffmaster with his spare conversion attempt. And a nice cover. So both of the third bowlers in the lineup doing their job.
This Plattsmouth team's got some history to it. 2 state championships, 2005 in the boys, 1999 all the way back, long before the Federation was involved for the girls. Mick Snell has a couple of children with state championships. His son, Michael, that is here today, has a daughter that's already graduated with a state championship in her back pocket, too.
Brett Watson leading the 3, coming in a little high. Tim Immonen picks up the spare.
Well, it won't be long before Plattsmouth starts throwing some strikes. So if you're Lexington, you got to pick up your spares, keep around in the match, hope for some breaks to go your way.
And Watson will try to do just that. And a nice cover and a little excitement there from Brett Watson.
He's going to break someone's hand back there. He's high-fiving him, and a couple of guys are looking at him saying, whoa, gear it down a notch, big boy. We got to use these hands. Here is one Michael Snell, who has a bright, bright, bright bowling future in front of this young man. Watch this.
What a shot by Snell.
That's probably what, Larry, about 125, 130 pounds soaking wet, and that kid throws the ball with as much force and leverage as big old fat me up there. Way more than that, and he is going to be able to probably go anywhere he wants and bowl collegiately. But it's a team game. Baker bowling here, 5 bowlers.
Michael says he wants to go to Nebraska.
Well,
come down here, accounting and business management.
He would certainly want to go bowl for the great Bill Straub and the program that Bill has down here in Lincoln. But right now they want to win another state championship. And a tough spare here for Lexington, the 2, 4, and the 7.
Sam Fred chops it. Fred, just a freshman.
It gives Plattsmouth the lead, sitting on the bench.
So they'll switch lanes after the first 5. We are in a Baker format. Each bowler bowling 2 frames in a game. 1 through 5 and then 6 through 10. And it's a race to 3. First team to win 3 Baker games wins the Class B state championship. Nate Sheldon leaves his 310.
Fast-paced here. Lexington boys get up there right away. They're not going to stand around and watch what their opponents do. They're bowling their own game, which is a smart move. But you don't want to get up there too fast so you're not distracted by late pinfall or anything. Cross lane at the 10 pin. This has been a nemesis all day for a lot of bowlers. What we saw there.
And a nemesis again.
Early, we've seen a lot of them hook by and go into the gutter, but these boys throw the ball with a little more rotation, more hook. That one he set short, hooked by, so Lexington now back on top, sitting on the bench.
The hard way, Zach Stauffer. Generally not how you draw it up, but it works.
7-pin lead for Lexington now in the 6th frame. Now in the 7th with Plattsmouth.
I think we are seeing some nerves here early. A couple missed spares and tugging the ball a little bit. Jake Hoffmaster. Pretty good shot there by Jake.
Safe shot. Both these boys with easy spares.
That's Zach Stauffer up on the right lane.
Going to go cross lane at this at the 6-pin. Covered, but no problem.
And Stauffer covers the single pin. Josh Crum, one of only 2 seniors on this Plattsmouth squad.
Cuts the heart out of the rack there. 5-pin count on a spare. Not optimal pin count, but this spare is makeable. Lexington can jump all over him with a strike here.
And here's Hoffmaster. Great shot by Hoffmaster.
This is the 3, 4, 6, 7, 10. You want to slide them all over like that. Wow.
Oh, what a great run. Nice attempt by Josh. And now, Tim Immonen up in the 9th frame will try to get things going for Plattsmouth, which finds itself down by 22 heading into the 9th.
Brett Watson here. Double would be big.
Immonen needing to strike. Pretty good shot. Can't get the wall shot to go.
Choppable spare. Needs to play it as straight as possible. Ball will take both the 3 and the 6 out.
At this point, Lexington just needs to stay clean, and they don't.
That's not the way you want to set up the 10th frame with an open in the 9th. They're going to hang on to the lead, though.
With a mark here. Does he get it?
No. Set that ball real short, kind of a double dribble sound, a boom boom at the foul line, and Lexington still with their 20 or 19-pin lead. Mark here, and they're going to win game number 1.
And the freshman puts it right in there. Great shot by Sam Fred, the lefty.
Game 1 to Lexington, Larry. We got ourselves a match. Plattsmouth is not going to roll over. They got too much firepower. Had a lot of open frames in that first game. They're not going to be whipping spares all day. Good shot there by Michael. Might have just pulled it a little bit. Michael has so much revolutions and has such a strong ball. On today's lane conditions, sometimes when you actually pull the ball left to your target, just a few boards, the ball may actually miss the head pin to the right or come up light because of the heavier oil in the middle. Michael has so much power on his bowling ball. He's got to make sure and get that ball out to delay the hook. Straight at the spare, but missed it. Uncharacteristic of this Plattsmouth team.
So 125 in the first game for Plattsmouth. A 160 plus. Depending on count, likely here for Lexington.
Very smooth, methodical delivery by this left-hander. Wow.
And a great finish, 165. That's a good-looking freshman right there, just 15 years old. Pretty good athlete, plays baseball and basketball. Does he like to come down here? Go to college in Lincoln. So it's Lexington taking game number 1 in this race to 3, 165-125 over Plattsmouth. And this for the boys Class B state championship. Plattsmouth, your defending state champion. Dusty Quaid to start the second game, goes Brooklyn. Nate Sheldon on the right lane. That's a trip 4 forward.
Haven't seen too many of the 4-pins trip today. Brand spanking new set of AMF pins in for today's competition. The pins sometimes, when they're right out of the box, bottoms are kind of flat, tough to knock over the trips, trip 4s, trip 6s, but got that one out. Chopped the spare for Plattsmouth. They put themselves behind out of the gate again. Mick Snell's going to pull his boys back together and tell them to take their time up there. They're getting up on the approach so fast, they need to sit down or at least take a breath and think of how their approach is going to be to cover the spare. Speaking of covering spares, this one's not a piece of cake either for Lexington. That's the 2-5-7 form of the baby split. A couple ways to get it. You can either put the ball to the left of the 2, ball takes out the 2 and the 7, the 2 pin goes into the 5, or you can get the ball to the right of the 2. Ball hits the 2 and the 5. You got to make sure and get the 2 into the 7. It'd be best for him to go to the left of the 2 pin, have the ball take out the baby split. That's going to be his best possibility for picking it up. And he doesn't do it that way, but
again, they don't ask how.
Nope. Looks the same on the old TV screen. Big, important spare for Plattsmouth. They do not want to go back-to-back opens again. Wow.
Ooh. Big shot there by Cash. Certainly looked like that was coming a little high, and that was definitely a choppable spare, but a good conversion for Plattsmouth.
Keeps him down by 11. Jake Hoffmaster here throws the ball real well.
Nice shot. Jake with the strike. And Lexington is clean through 3 here in the second game. Now Josh Crum on the left lane. The senior sends it wide. Plenty of room. Great shot, great reaction. And maybe that's what Plattsmouth needed to get him going. Sometimes it just takes one shot like that. One guy burying a shot to fire everybody up. And things can start to snowball a bit. Brett Watson. A little high.
Looked a little soft on the speed there, Larry. Was a little firm the frame before, the game before, actually. Ball dove high, leaving the 6. Makeable spare. Needs a double badly here for Plattsmouth. Catches a break, though, and busts out the baby split. If Lexington can win this second game and put Plattsmouth down 2-0, 0-2, actually, we'll see what the Plattsmouth boys are made of. They haven't been behind a whole lot in the last 3-4 years.
And a good cover by Watson. Immonen converts. So a mark for Immonen in the fourth. Plattsmouth trying to stand it. They're down by 11 through 3. Both teams with marks in the fourth. And that brings up the freshman Sam Fred.
Looks like he pulled it just a smidge. Just a little bit. Leaves a 6. Good shot, though. Keep the ball in play. Talk about that in bowling lingo. Keeping it in play means keep it around the pocket. Try to keep it off the nose to avoid the big split. Leave those 4s, 6s, 7s, and 10s, single pin spares that are easily makeable. It's not going to get you in trouble.
There's Michael. What a great shot by Michael Snell, and he turns to high-five the crowd.
His backswing is so high, when it comes down, it looks like it's going straight for the back of his heel.
Doesn't it remind you a little bit of Rick Steelsmith?
He just barely clears his foot with his release. That's where all that leverage is. They call it the explosion point, right next to your ankle, and he just clips it right there at the bottom of his arm swing, and that's what gets all those revolutions. But, hey, these Lexington boys are in the lead. Actually, they're tied.
A few former Wichita State players that had that real high backswing. And at one point, I know he was considering Wichita State at one point as Nate Sheldon was a big strike. And a Brooklyn for Dusty Quaid. Dusty needed that coming off of an open his last time up. It's a big double for Plattsmouth.
Lexington needs a strike here to keep the game tied. And does.
Got a big shot. C.J. Cassakurt.
From our vantage point here along the right-hand side of lanes 28, 27 and 28 here at Sun Valley Lanes, it's tough to see exactly their mark on the lane, but kind of watching his eyes there when he let go of the first ball in his first attempt. Eyes moved up off his target, kind of looked up, almost like a golf swing. And you look up in golf, you have a tendency to shank it or hit it off the toe. Got to keep your eyes peeled on that target until the ball crosses over it.
Hoffmaster trying to make it 3 in a row.
Uh-oh.
And they had just taken the lead by 8. Here's Crum.
Back in the lead. Think there's some intensity here today.
That's fun. There's nothing wrong with some gamesmanship.
This is all business. Good opportunity to go for 2, fill the frame.
Giving it a ride. Made a nice run at that. So Plattsmouth takes the lead back and can widen that lead if Tim Immonen can double up.
This will increase the lead to 24.
He certainly got it out there, gave it room, comes screaming back. It's looking more and more like the room is to the right. If they tug it a little bit, it looks like it's going to come up a little high, but the room is to the right.
Can get it out so far, but you don't want to pitch it too far to the right. Lexington needs a strike right here. I think they're needing to pick up the pace a little bit. It's got to be a little more firm with that shot. Keep the ball on line so it doesn't break early into the nose like it did there. Brett's a 190 average bowler, so he knows what to do here for the spare. He's going to move to the left a little bit. Let the ball take out the 3 and the 6.
Needing the mark in the 9th. And he gets the mark, and that will bring up on the right lane Michael Snell in the 10th frame. He's working on a double. Snell says his best bowling memory was when he was a freshman. He had to have 3 strikes in the 10th to beat Beatrice and advance in the state tournament. He says he buried all 3.
Needs just a mark. That's enough.
And a great shot.
Possible a possible 228 for Plattsmouth. Lexington is going to come up short this game. So it's tied 1-1, Larry.
Lexington still with an opportunity to shoot a great game. It's just not going to be good enough. You know, you can see this in Baker matches. One guy makes a big shot and all of a sudden everybody gets a little hot. So they shoot 125 the first game, does Plattsmouth, and back it up with a 216, 217, depending on whether or not he picks
It's a fickle game.
Yes, it is.
Just like golf, you can hit it great one day and act like you never played the game the next day.
All
so,
right. Just act like you never played most days. If you're like me.
.217 for Plattsmouth. Good score. They're lined up now. Looks like they got the jitters out. All those missed spares killed them in the first game. Lexington's going to be in the 190s.
193. 217, 193. Plattsmouth wins the second, and we're all even at one game apiece in the boys' Class B state championship match. We take a look at what each team had to do to get here. Lexington knocked off Elkhorn and Hastings to get to the championship. Plattsmouth beat Scottsbluff and Seward. Seward, one of the better teams in Class B all year long.
That was a grudge match there. Those two teams battled each other all year between Seward, Plattsmouth, and Elkhorn in the Class B boys. Those three teams were all neck and neck all season long. Tough spare for Lexington now, the 3-6-10 on the left-hand side. It's Nate Sheldon.
So Nate Sheldon will try to convert here in the first frame of the third game. Needs to skid. Or hook a lot, and it hooked a lot. And that needs to hook a lot. And Dusty, the sophomore, with the open in the first frame.
Busts out the possible split, leaves the 4. Plattsmouth needs a strike now to overcome that first frame open.
And a big shot by C.J. Cassikert. And a nice cover there in the second frame for Lex. Brings up Josh Crum. Josh sends it wide. Just getting a great reaction right now at the back end.
See Plattsmouth's confidence building with each shot. Lexington's gotten a little quiet over there in their corner. Needs a strike to get the team back up.
Hoffmaster. Hoffmaster with a high game of 247 and 662 series.
He needs to cover this spare. No more opens. Be methodical, cover those spares. Hope your opponent leaves you an opening to jump in there. It's got a hook. It does. Wow.
We both thought that was in about 40 feet, didn't we?
Thought that was in the moat.
Yep.
No question. Strike here will really open up the lead for Plattsmouth.
Tim Eminem. And a great shot by Eminem.
Gives them a 21-pin lead, Larry.
Brett wants it on the left lane. That needed to get back a lot, too.
Lost that one at the bottom of his swing. Hand got on the side of the ball. Just didn't keep his hand firm at the point of release. Now he's got himself a little work for him on the spare, the 1-2-4-8.
Watson says before a match he likes to listen to a lot of hard rock music to pump himself up, and if you've seen his reaction after spares, he looks like a guy that doesn't need a lot of pumping up.
Good cover.
Good cover, good reaction.
All right.
Michael Snell.
This is their meat and potatoes bowler right here.
Looking for the four-bagger.
Do that real firm.
Sit.
Oh, man.
Well, that's what they...
That is the true tap in bowling, is the solid 8. I wish we had the replay capabilities today, because what you'd see is that ball going right into the pocket, everything perfect. The 5, instead of going into the 8, just goes straight back. But a good shot there in return by Lexington, and they end up having to pay for it a little bit too with a solid 7 there for Sam Fred.
You notice how much time he takes and thinks through, even his spares. Solid bowler, Michael Snell. 300 games, 788 series, career highs. And this is the next grade bowler in Nebraska, the freshman Sam Freed out of Lexington.
Switched balls there on the spare. Did a great job.
And now they'll switch lanes. And through 5, they both have marked in the 5th. Plattsmouth with a 15-pin lead. And we're all even at 1 game apiece. Dusty Quaid. Quaid with the strike.
Gave it the little Tiger Woods golf swing there. Lexington's got to answer, Larry. And a washout is not the right answer. This is going to give Plattsmouth the lead.
Well, they now lead by 35, and they're on a strike. That could grow.
All right, with being down this far in the match, you're going to have to try and go for this spare. Got to get the ball over on the left side of the 1, so it takes out the 10. A little too much, and you lose some count there. Could be a 32-pin lead here. Plattsmouth can strike.
Tugged it just a bit. He knew it.
It's been, you watch his release. Watch CJ's release. And let's go with the ball. He takes a step to the right. He kind of falls away, almost like a basketball fall-away jumper. Falls away to the right. Got to learn to stay solid at the line and go through the shot. You watch his teammate, Michael Snell, and as hard as he throws it, he stays through the shot. Lexington got a strike there, but right now the game is all Plattsmouth's.
Plattsmouth on top right now.
34 or 24-pin lead, Larry. Double here will close that gap.
Oh, and a great shot. Just a touch high, and that's the solid 9. If it happens to you, anything in the back row is a tap.
Leaving the weak 10, but Plattsmouth in command right now. We're in the 8th frame here, match number 3.
And a nice cover by Hoffmaster.
Well, the only way this can go south right now for Plattsmouth is if they start leaving open frames. So let's go cross lane at this 10 pin and pick it up. Done it a million times this year. No need to falter now. Looks like he set it a little short. For those of you that are watching at home, when he let go of the ball, Larry, his thumb, instead of pointing towards the pins, his thumb was pointing to the left at about 10 o'clock, 9, 10 o'clock. When that happens, the only way the ball can get off your hand is to start going left. And there was just that little difference in his hand position at release that caused him to miss that spare on the left side. That ball's way outside.
Still a 22-pin lead for the Blue Devils.
Lexington needed to answer with a strike there. Plattsmouth's not going to stay dormant all afternoon. .22-pin lead, and Lexington has got to cover the spare, and they're going to have to double in the 10th to have any chance, and there may be some help by Plattsmouth with an open frame. Otherwise, looks like Plattsmouth will win Game 3. It's got to hook a lot.
And that about does it right there.
Yep. Maximum 172 for Lexington. Plattsmouth's already in the 160s without throwing a ball. All they're going to need is count in the 10th.
That'll be it. And that does it. So Plattsmouth has won this third game and takes a 2-game-to-1 lead in this best-of-5 Baker format for the boys Class B State High School Bowling Championship. You take a look at some of these individual results from yesterday, Steve, and 2 of these 3 Plattsmouth bowlers were in the top 3. Tim Immonen shot a 620, and Josh Crum shot 615. And the boys Class A or Class B singles champion was Sam Fred of Lexington, the freshman. A left-handed freshman shooting 635 to win it.
Plattsmouth making a substitution here for the fill ball in the 10th, bringing in Joel Beckman, sophomore. Wise choice by Coach Mick Snell. Reward his players for a great season. And you may need him, so might as well get him in there, give him a chance. And the same for Lexington. James Liebart. Shot there. 162 for Lexington, not going to be enough.
So Lexington has got a 165, 193, and now 162 in their 3 Baker games. Plattsmouth 125, 217, 196. So Plattsmouth wins Game 3, 196 to 162, and takes a 1-game lead. It's now 2 games to 1 in this race to 3. It's a best-of-5 Baker format. Earlier this afternoon, we crowned state champions in 5 other matches. In Class D, the McCool Junction boys and girls were state champions. In Class C boys action, Centura shut down Adams Central 3-0. And in Class C girls, Ravenna shot a 246 in Baker play and beat St. Paul 3-0. In fact, the 246 that the Ravenna girls shot was the highest ever Baker game shot in the arena finals. And then, of course,
right out of the gate there, Larry. Nate Sheldon opens up with a strike, about leaped out of his shoes, and everybody in the back row of the stands went crazy and stood up. So they're going to have to jump on Plattsmouth and jump on them early.
And up first for Plattsmouth is Jordan Hadraba. Hadraba subbing in. He's a sophomore, averaging 167. Hadruba, just 15 years old, member of the band. He's part of that drum line. Bowles plays football, baseball, and track, so he's a multi-sport athlete. And a nice cover by Hadruba.
That's why the Baker format in bowling is such a great team sport. You utilize virtually your whole bench. It's almost like hockey where you've got everybody playing. Named after the late Frank Baker, who was in charge of the ABC for years. That's going to get it. It was spinning and it got it.
So it'll be a double.
Double out of the gate. Quickly up is Plattsmouth.
It's pulled just a little bit.
Kind of see a little more of that. And Larry, maybe that's a little bit of psychology, maybe a little bit of head games trying to go on down there. As soon as one team gets a great break and excites the crowd, boom, the opposing team is right up there ready to shut them up. It's almost like trying to take the crowd out of a football game with a great defensive stand.
They had a good cover by Kaskirk. So Lexington with the double to start this fourth game. 3 games in the book. Plattsmouth leading 2-1. Josh Crum up on the left lane for Plattsmouth. Needs to set, and it doesn't. Little tug.
Well, at least they're covering their spares right now. Plattsmouth knows they're 1 game away from back-to-back state championships. Lexington is not rolling over. They're hanging in there. Haven't made a whole lot of bad shots. That's got a skid. The minute I say that,
Yep.
Need you to do all the talking, Larry. I'm starting to feel bad for some of these guys when I think they've got it and it doesn't happen.
Well, that's a cover by Josh Crum, the senior. You asked Josh Crum what the strongest part of his game is. His answer is confidence.
Well, you got to have that.
Absolutely.
There's no question.
Brett Watson. Watson trips the 4.
Puts him back in the lead.
Eminem now up in the left lane. 279 high game and a 650 series.
Wiggle it, 9.5. You call that one. That was had the 2-pin right around the neck of the 4, and it just didn't carry it out.
Yep. Eminem just a sophomore, and he says his best series is a 650. I have to believe, with the way his game looks, there are a lot higher series come in his future.
That'll be eclipsed before too long.
Yep.
Good cover there by Josh. Excuse me, Tim. All right, here's our freshman phenom for Lexington.
State singles champion yesterday, shooting.
Didn't like that one when he let go of it, Larry. Looks like he stuck at the line, reared up at the shot. Yeah, he was the singles champion.
Shot 635. And now Michael Snell. Speaking of big games, Michael Snell with the first ever 300 game in Federation play.
That was last year, I do believe. Takes his time at the approach.
Skid.
He was trying to tell it to get over on the Brooklyn side. He looked like he was a little fast there in his approach. Doing so, he got his hand around the side of the ball. The ball went left again. Need a spare here out of Lexington to keep that lead. Switching to a different bowling ball.
And now Snell.
This is to keep it within 2 pins.
Get out there. Got it the hard way. So through 5 as they switch alleys. Lexington is on top 77-75, both teams with marks in the 5th. Jordan Hadraba sits back down, and Dusty Quaid now back in the game. He is subbed back in. Quaid with the strike. That must mean home run, huh?
He was calling a shot there, it looks like. Wash out here, the 1, 2, 4, and the 10. Got to go for it now. The ball's got to get to the left side of the head pin and just didn't get far enough on the left side. Plattsmouth back in the lead.
C.J. Cassikert.
Same thing. CJ's having a little trouble with his balance at the foul line. Don't know if it's the pressure of the situation, maybe the little bit of perspiration possibly, but when he let go of that ball, Larry, he was moving to the right, falling away from his shot. The ball went left. And a squasher there by Lexington to put them back in the lead. It's a tough spare here.
Good cover.
Actually, Plattsmouth still with a 3-pin lead, depending upon Lexington's shot here in the 8th frame. Strike here will put them in the lead. So this is anybody's match right here. It's time to look down inside and see what you have for poise. That's very hard to do.
It's very difficult to do, and it's great concentration.
Let's go with that ball, and that's a release. But he pulled up. Something distracted him. Smart move. Gets set up for the next shot. It looks pretty good. Yep. He kind of hung a little bit on that one. That ball was lofted and went out over the foul line in an upwards motion. That's called hitting up on the ball. Usually when you do that, the ball is destined to go high, and he did, leaving the 3-6-10. Plattsmouth for a double.
Oh.
Actually, not for a double. To fill on that spare in the 7th. 134 in the 7th for Plattsmouth. Lexington fills here. I'll give them 122, so Plattsmouth back in the lead.
Had a good cover by Lexington. Mick Snell's a guy that's been around bowling a long time for Plattsmouth.
His parents own the bowling center Limerick Lanes in Plattsmouth for 20 years or more. Just retired from the sport or retired from the business.
He won a couple of state championships as a coach. As you mentioned earlier, one with his daughter, one with Michael. Last year, this would make it 3.
All right, here's the situation. 9th frame now. Lexington down by 12. Needs a strike. It's time to turn it up a notch.
Brent Watson.
He went wide several times earlier in the game, so the obvious correction is usually an overcorrection. Going high, leaving the 6 and the 10. A strike here is going to...
Imminent with a big shot.
That sets Plattsmouth up.
They are in charge now.
Lexington is going to have to hope that Plattsmouth opens, and then they're going to have to double in the 10th to have any chance. Otherwise, Plattsmouth will be state champions.
Get 2.
Lexington with a possible max score of 190. Plattsmouth going at a 194 pace. So basically a mark.
Well, yeah.
Mark will pretty much do it for Plattsmouth. Strike or spare here.
Michael Snell throws this one. Plattsmouth is state champ. They're state champs!
You go to your money man when you need it done.
Back-to-back state champs by Plattsmouth.
He has been money for the last 4 years at Plattsmouth High School. And I have a feeling he's going to be money for Bill Straub and Lincoln in years to come.
That's right. Just a terrific game.
Best Lexington can do is 190. Plattsmouth will be in the 200s. I don't know if Michael knows that he's got it wrapped up yet, but he should know now. Oh, second 8-pin in a row, but it's good enough. Those boys kind of went through an interesting year, Larry. You know, the bowling center in Plattsmouth that was owned by the Snell family was sold, and the owner that purchased it afterwards closed the bowling center, so they were without a place to bowl as late as August. Well, they found a home at the Papio Bowl in Papillion, and so going from one environment to the other, the long drives to practice, a lot of these boys living in the Plattsmouth, Springfield area, driving all the way to Papillion.
And you can see the excitement and jubilation as Plattsmouth has won its second consecutive state championship.
Well, Lexington bowled good, and I tell you what, Plattsmouth is the team to beat, has been the team to beat in Class B for a long time. Lexington hung with them, got that first game from them.
And Cotton Schwartz comes in to throw a ball at the state championship. The sophomore to finish it out for Lexington. 203 to 179. Plattsmouth 3 games to 1. They are the boys Class B state high school champions for the second year in a row.